All right. Ladies, welcome to this premiere season of So on Fire, a podcast which is truly for wise women. And you know that we connect here on a really deep level with spiritually driven entrepreneurs who value authenticity, power of alignment, and true voice. And I'm really passionate about getting their perspectives on really practical tools, on revolutionary processes which support us, female entrepreneurs, on our quest to the simple and elegant six-figure business. So today I would like to invite you into the conversation about artificial intelligence and its harmonious integration to amplify grace and authenticity in a spiritually driven marketing. So I'd like to, I know how it sounds, but I'd like to have a look whether, is it even possible to do that? And if yes, what would be the best way to approach it? So for this exercise, I have invited someone truly exceptional. I have extraordinary treat for you and amazing guest. So please join me in welcoming Michelle Goodman. Welcome, Michelle.
Hi, Maggie. So happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
I want you to know that Michelle is heart-centered business coach who really fuses her love for marketing, for technology, and AI into her very unique SimpleBiz.ai approach. And her mission is to truly empower entrepreneurs to quickly build impactful, authentic businesses with less overwhelm. And I'm so excited about this conversation because Michelle and I, we meet, every now and then for chatting, for virtual coffees. We certainly share the passion for heart-centered marketing, for this deep, soul-rooted and authentic communication. We are both marketeers, but we also share something on the energetical level. If you know human design, we are both projectors. Maybe new for you, but projectors are like natural guides and wisdom sharers for the people who are ready for it. But what's challenging, they must prioritize resting. We need to learn, how to rest, how to manage our energy, and how to spend really quality time recharging our energy. Then we thrive in life and in business if we know how to do it. So we need to learn how to, we need to master really the art of balancing their own life and businesses and honor that. And it means that we are on a constant search for practical tools, for practical strategies, informing us how we can work less, how we can work smarter, so that we don't experience the bitterness and we don't experience the burnout. Sometimes it could be massive burnout. And a few months ago, during one of our virtual coffees, the growing buzz around AI, especially in marketing, really caught our attention. We approached it from very different angles, but we felt motivated really to explore its potential ways of using it in the business. But we wanted to form our own like hands-on perspective. We are practitioners, and we wanted to test its practicality, authenticity, and really suitability for our specific businesses. So I'd like to start this discussion with zooming on maybe some of the myths related to the use of AI in marketing communication. But maybe before we dive into that, let's just remember how we landed on experiencing AI. Michelle, do you remember how did you step on AI and decided this is
Yeah.
I would like to explore?
So I was first like, it's not that I didn't know about it. I heard the buzz, it was around, people were talking about it, but I hadn't really paid attention until I got into a summit that a person I was connected with was part of the summit experience, and she invited all of us. And so I attended the summit, and the summit was on various aspects of using AI. And the minute I saw it, I was like, oh my goodness, this is exactly the thing. Like, you know how when you're building your business and like you get that eureka moment where like you're like, oh my gosh, this is what I was looking for. AI dropped in for me, and it was literally the missing piece that I needed to help entrepreneurs take their heart-centered message and turn it into a business. Because, you know, as heart-centered entrepreneurs, we're always struggling with that balance between like, oh, I want to create, I want to put my work out into the world, I want to make an impact, but I also have to build the business and
And make
get
some money.
customers and all of the things, right? And so there's this constant tension between the two pieces. And what I saw when I stepped into this workshop, because none of what they were doing was really like how I use it, but what I saw was the possibility of it
Yeah.
and
It's
what it
it's
could
amazing
bring to us.
how we see it, because for me also the door to AI was not connected to my business at all, to my coaching business. I had some discussion with my son. He showed me what kind of question, what kind of prompts he's using in his job. And I thought, oh, maybe this is something that would help me to analyze a lot of data that I receive as an expert working for European Commission. And I had this long, long, long application form. Sometimes I need to read like 100 pages. And I really was longing for a tool to make a synthesis. And that helped me massively. So the next step for me was to use it as a creator,
Mhm.
co-creator actually.
Right.
But obviously I had some reservations. So I want us to dive now into this like potential limitations and reservations and pre-assumptions that people are
Right.
looking at AI. So let's discuss. I know that you have like a handful list of.
Yeah. So I think from a heart centered entrepreneur or a spiritually based person that's trying to serve, I think one of the biggest questions is like, is it going to feel authentic?
Yeah.
Is it going to be robotic? Is it going to just like be the antithesis of what I'm like embodying in my practice of authenticity and, you know, that realm? And I think that is probably the one that comes up a lot. Would you say that's true for you?
Yes, and I think that when I started to, on the practical side, when I started to work with that, the biggest barrier that I anticipated was how how do I communicate with AI? How do I communicate with chat so that it it really responds in a way that I am welcoming, that sounds like me, that actually conveys this message of, authenticity and a deep connection. And I had to learn how to approach it. So for me, it was like a mental shift. And because I was working some years ago in advertising, I was working a lot with copywriters. So I said, okay, why don't I treat it as a copywriter? Somebody I wanted to have on my team for some time now. I was thinking about hiring him or her, and obviously, one of the um, qualities I was looking for was a copywriter who would understand what I'm doing, how I'm doing, what is my language, right?
Right.
So the authentic connection is there. And it took me a while really to inform it. Who am I really? And especially, I'm not a native speaker, and I'm working with my chat in English, and then I'm working with my clients in English. So that's another complication, if you like, or it's another layer. But I approach it with curiosity. I was really curious what what can come out. What could be the effect of my doing. That was like terra incognita for me completely,
Right.
but it was fun.
And you know what I noticed, and I see this in my clients, is that like you can talk about AI, right? You can talk about its benefits, you can talk about its myths. Um, but what I literally saw from every single person once they saw it, like once we were actually able to take it and use it, was the response was wow.
Yeah,
And it was like across the board. It was so fun to like watch that expand. But you can't explain it to people. They have to see it in action,
you have to
and they
show
have to
it. Yes.
right. They have to see it to understand the power of it in an authentic way, right? Because there's lots of things you can do with it. There's so many different use cases out there. Every industry has a heap of use cases for that specific industry. But when it comes to heart centered entrepreneurs, there's some absolute value and time saving and connection building aspects of it that are just exceptional. I can't.
Yeah, I would like to discuss the benefits, a little bit later, but let's come back to this like a spiritual aspect of using an AI for the communication, um, for building a marketing communication. If you are spiritually driven or heart-centered entrepreneur, and you truly would like to create this deep connection with your audience. And then what I hear in the spiritual community is that it's not even ethical to use AI because it's not coming from your heart. So I'm wondering, what is your opinion here as a practitioner?
Yeah, I think it's how you use it, right? Like there we have a myriad of ways that we can utilize it. And from a spiritual perspective, I know for me, like I am coming from a heart-centered perspective and I want it to be authentic. And you're right, there is that balance of it's an unknown. We're in a vacuum right now where there's like it's like the wild west of AI, essentially, where there are no rules. Who knows like what its full capabilities are. There's some doubt, there's some angst around it, and like how do you want to choose to think about that, right? So it really does boil down to how you think about it and use it, as to how you allow it to fit within whatever model or authentic realm that you want to come from.
So tell me, on the practical level, when you are creating, for instance, marketing communication, say it prompts or posts or I don't know, webinars, do you have a tendency to personify your chat? I'm asking because I noticed that when I'm working with my chat for my coaching business, uh, I I tend to see her, as a female copywriter. But when I use it for analytics, it's a he, it's a man.
That's fascinating. Yes, I refer to mine as Chad, so he's a he. And yes, I do find that personifying it makes it more conversational and how you it is a relationship essentially. Like if you think about it in a lot of ways, you build this relationship with it so that it can like deeply get to know you, and you're telling it, things that are pretty can be intimate depending on what your business is, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, I do personify it. I agree.
I just caught myself, thinking that actually we are being vulnerable here because we tell it a lot, but we never hear back anything.
Well, actually, no, I think it gives us quite a bit back. Um, it's what we want to accept that it gives us back that like changes it. I mean, you know, the practicality of it is that it is a relationship you're building this connection, I guess,
Mm.
in for lack of a better way to describe it, but you are building that because the more it knows you, the more authentic it comes out. So yeah, it's and then there is that vulnerable side of it, right? Because like what is what's where does that stuff go? Where is it residing? So there is like you do have to go into it with eyes wide open, I think, and be, you know, have that perspective of what you're going to share. So that part of it I think is real. Like I'm a cybersecurity person and that is a very real thing that I think about. And like, with all the apps coming out and stuff like that, it's really important to be able to like discern what makes sense for you.
Yeah, and I think you touched on the ethical side. I'm not sure if we do have globally some kind of legislation that informs the public that the text, for instance, is coming from AI.
Yeah.
It's
I
not the
think there's a lot of controversy around that right now and a lot of talk around it. And then, then there's the whole fact of how AI is a learning model, right?
Mm,
So what's it doing on its own to perpetuate or learn more as we're giving it all this information? I think that is something that, people are concerned about. There's clearly ethical um considerations that are more prevalent in some industries, the music industry, the all kinds of businesses where there's intellectual property that like how is that protected, and yeah, because it synthesizes information.
absolutely. But on the other hand, the concerns that, for instance, the outcome of AI, when you ask it for uh, creating the post or creating the blog post, it can sound robotic if you don't curate it properly. But if you know how to do it, you can't tell the difference, actually. It really sounds like human. It sounds like a spiritually driven human, right?
I like to say it knows what I want to say better than I do.
Yes,
And that's been my experience with it, is that when and it's like you said, it's a matter of curation, it's a matter of I lovingly refer to it as prompt wrangling, like knowing how to say what you say and how to use it to get what you are asking for it to come out. And there's tuning that happens, right? So it is like a curation process that happens.
So it is actually, I like to look at this process, as a co-creation.
Mhm.
We have the spark, we have the inspiration, we want the human factor, right? We know what we want to say, and we just ask AI to say it more authentically or say it maybe more precisely, because some people either they underestimate their own personality, their own essence, their own experience, or they are lacking, the language. As simple as that.
Right. And I think that in that realm, one of the things that I like truly appreciate of it is the fact that it's likes diversity. So when I give it what my thoughts are, it still shares like a more global process back
Mm,
that I then can like relate to what I'm saying and see that positioning of how I am approaching something as it would fit into like a different realm, right? So it's like it's an unlock. It unlocks things that you, because of our individual blinders that we have, would not see probably ever.
absolutely. And I think that the process that you showed me, and I hope that we will speak about this a little bit today, um, just opened like the new universe for me, because of these biases that you just mentioned, we don't see things.
Right.
But the minute you inform AI who we truly are, it starts to speak the true voice, the language that you probably would not use because of the conditioning, right? That is cutting our tongue.
Exactly.
So you have to be brave to start using AI, and you have to be brave to really to confront yourself with the output.
Yeah. And I don't know if I would consider it that you need, I think you have to approach it with curiosity for sure,
Yeah,
right? Like as part of a co-creation process, like what's possible here?
yeah, yeah.
What's
You
the
can always
possibility?
tone it down if you like.
Right,
If
right.
you're not ready for the shift, but I know that for me, the experience with AI was um, part of very profound change that is actually very, very empowering.
Hmm. I would agree with you on that 100%. And I think the more that you're able to talk about personifying it, right? Like
Mm,
the more you're able to converse with it,
yeah.
then it picks up that conversation, which is really fascinating that it like can it
And
can
it's on,
understand that.
and it's only the beginning. I mean,
Right.
we are just scratching the surface of what is possible with that.
Yeah. And
Um,
when you think about like the spiritual, when I think about spiritual or heart-centered people and like the thought of like, is it ethical to use it?
mm,
I mean, they still use copywriters. They
true.
still use copywriting tools. But what if you just think about it from a spiritual perspective, what if you are really able to deeply connect in the words you use? And what does that unlock for potential clients that maybe didn't hear your message, but now you can speak to them much more deeply? I don't know that that's unethical. I think it's unethical to not serve those people if you can. So,
And
like,
deprive
there's
them, right?
that alternate, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
How many more people can you serve if you can connect deeper, if you can speak their language better? Because, like, we all know, like, as coaches and healers, we all have our language, our practical language that's part of what we do, but that's not what our ideal clients need. They need to hear in their words, right? And so I find it like ethically empowering that we can serve more, we can impact more.
And I think we can say more because funnily and surprisingly enough, I mean, I never expected AI to be so good in evoking the emotional um, description of particular, behaviors or particular um, emotions.
Right.
And it's really, really good in adding this emotional touch and operating the language. I would never do. So in my case, I need to tone it down because then people will never, believe that I'm using the language in such a way. But it's definitely time saving for me, and it's probably one of the biggest benefit that and I want us to to dive deeper a little bit into the benefits of using AI when you are, especially when you are a solo entrepreneur and you are everything in your business. You are accountant and you are a creator and you are client service and you are a sales woman, and you need to be
Right.
also creative person. So
Right.
co-creating with AI, in my case, it is like at least 3 to 4 times. It saves my time.
Hmm. And for me, as a projector, like
Mm.
knowing that, like, if we're going to share what we do and if we're going to have an impact, we have to put it out into the world, right? Like, we have to put it out there, but every inch of my body rejects that thought. And so, what I've discovered with it is that not only can I connect deeper or like find the words, but what used to take me hours to do something simple, because like overcoming that blank page and really allowing yourself, like, your essence to get put out into the world, now I can do in minutes what I could do in hours before. And what I'm doing and like how I'm working with it, I can actually help people get their business created in days instead of years. Like, it's just phenomenal what the possibility is. And not only that, but think about when you're creating content or you're trying to get leads in your business or whatever, there's this like thought of, oh gosh, I don't want to do that as a heart-centered solopreneur. Like, I would much rather be like coaching or doing something else. But it actually shifts it on its head and makes it fun because it's so creative. It unlocks that creative part of us and makes it so much more fun.
I
You know,
think that you just put your finger on that. I mean, this is spot on. It became fun instead of being a pain.
right,
Um, and for me as well. I mean, this is one of the processes that like creating even though I like writing, it took me so much time.
yeah,
And now I have the idea. I still write whatever I want to write, but then I form my chat to create something for me, and then repurposing. It's another story, right?
right.
You can have like endless alternatives, shorter, longer, more emotional, less emotional for
and
this.
and more
When
intentional, right?
Yeah,
Like, for me, I know, like, the thought of being, out there everywhere, the thought of that just made my brain like go, hell no. Like,
I
no,
wanted to
no.
crawl like hide in the cave.
I can feel my whole body contract just thinking about it. But what I've noticed is, um, because of AI, whereas before I would have said, as a heart-centered entrepreneur, we can create like a pseudo path to grow our business, but we can't really have a clear path because everybody's business is custom, right? It's not like you can say, well, just do this and that and this. there are activities that we need to do, but how we go about them as, spiritual entrepreneurs or heart-centered entrepreneurs is very different than if it was a commodity or a product,
Yeah, the
right?
puzzle. It's always the puzzle, right?
Right. Right.
To
It's that balance of like who we are and what we do and the essence. And what I've discovered is that with I can actually um extract my essence and then use it to inform like who's my ideal client and then actually create the pathway. So when I'm creating content, now I get to think about it as I'm taking the person on a journey. It's not throwing spaghetti at the wall. It's not one-off stuff. It's like I have a process now where I can think about the whole journey. And
so it's
so to me
intentional.
that feels so much more aligned, right?
Yes, it's intentional. It's logical in a way,
Mhm.
but it's very, very deeply connected with
Mhm.
the needs and pains of the client or future client. I love your process, and
Yeah, and the other thing is like think about when you're like figuring out your business and you're figuring out what problem you're going to solve and what niche you're going to be in and all the drama that
mm,
comes with that process. And part of that drama is us accepting that we're going to put ourselves out in the world that like, it's not what we do. And one of the things that I know for sure is that with AI, in so much less time and with so much less drama, we can uniquely position ourselves as an authentic authority to the people we want to serve. And
absolutely.
that is a game changer. Like that's like years of bumbling around in business that can get condensed into such a shorter time frame, but then you feel more confident and you're literally coming from this like niche from one. Like I think of it as like a niche for one, right? Like who are we? We're like this unique thing. And when we're positioned from that space, we are more authentic in our conversations. We are able to like more deeply connect and it feels better. Like, we don't want to create that thing that we hate when we're done creating it. So this allows that to happen more fluidly, like less struggle.
Would you let us a little bit more, let us know a little bit more about the process that you have discovered? I mean, how you work with AI, how you discover this magical essence, and then how you show people how they can work with AI. Because I've been through the process, and it was something really, an eye opener and a big breakthrough.
Yeah, it is evolving still too, because like, just like AI, it's like I like to use the term prompt wrangling because it is like this give and take process where you have to like see like if I put this in, what comes out and like what do I need. So when I think about AI, I think about like baking a cake
Mm.
and like what are the ingredients we need to get the cake that we want at the end. And so part of the process that I've been playing with and what I use is I have a process that I use to like literally extract your gifts and genius. And so then those become the ingredients that we can use to bake the cake and inform AI like where we're going. And I'm not gonna lie, like the results like continue to astound me. Like the more I play with it, the more I play with the prompts and what questions to ask and things like that. Um, it's really astounding. But I literally can help you discover like what's your ideal business that you should create if you're not if you're
Yeah.
not already creating something that you love, like, or how can you hone what you're creating so that it's more deeply connected, more of your essence, like your secret sauce is what makes it authentic.
Who are
And
you
so
actually? Who
right,
are you? What
not
makes
only who are you, like what are your gifts, what are your genius, what's your purpose, like when you think about that core stuff that you need. Like I like to think of it like I use the momentum formula because I'm a little nerdy science wise. And so, if you think about the momentum formula, like momentum equals mass times velocity, right? And the mass is that essence. It's who we are, it's who we serve, it's the problem we solve, it's our deep why. It's that little, it creates this little ball of mass. And then we have to like tell it like go that direction. And the hardest thing for sometimes for us as heart-centered entrepreneurs is to figure out like what is that direction and what is our little ball of mass. When we can get those two things, then we can start to get momentum, right? We can start to throw stuff into the mix that like gets us moving. And so like that's what I'm playing with at a deep level. And
Yes,
you experience the process. Like it is a discerning process of like literally extracting who you are, like what your essence is, and then
it's
taking that and putting it in a format that,
it is absolutely fascinating process, and I encourage you ladies to go through through this process because it has nothing to do with all the hundreds of thousand prompts that you can buy out there from other I don't know social media gurus. It literally informs you what are your achievements, why you are here on this planet, what are your gifts, how your heart is communicating with the world, with what kind of words, even.
Mhm.
Um, and you call it essence. For me, it was like a strong platform that I am standing on. So
Right.
something very, very solid. Um, so, Michelle, would you like to tell us how we can connect with you if anyone is?
Yeah. So right now I'm actually doing that as part of a challenge that I'm offering for free. Um, and you can sign up for the challenge by going to unleashed.simplebiz dot AI. So unleashed.simplebiz.ai. And if you go and register for the challenge, literally it's going to take you through a process of extraction. And then at the end, I am going to create for you a profile that you can use with AI to put those ingredients in that you need to be able to like get out more authentic and learn how to use it to create like from that authentic space, from that co-creation, heart-centered, grounded space. So, and it's such a fun process. Well, not the questions. The questions are not the fun part. There's a painful part first in that you have to do some deep thinking. Um, but once you get through that, it's literally just so much fun.
And I think it speeds up eventually once you go through the process and you receive back.
You
Then,
wrangle your brain.
then yeah, we have to hack your brain a little bit during the process. So be prepared for some negotiations with with your spirit
A lot of
and your
negotiations.
brain and your mind. But eventually, I think you are like putting yourself on a light speed trajectory.
Yeah. It's a game changer for heart-centered entrepreneurs. There's no
Absolutely.
question. And then what you can do with that afterwards, like that's really where that's the beginning, right? Like that, like you said, it sets the platform, and then from there, it's unbelievable what's possible.
Before we wrap up, would you like to share with ladies maybe some kind of a practical tip on how to approach AI or how to approach technology or how to
Yeah.
approach their business so that it is super simple because we are all for simplicity here?
Yeah, I think that that's been a game changer for me with AI is seeing how what I was making so complicated before can actually be boiled down to a simple, repeatable process. So, like, that's the other thing. Like, if we're thinking about growing our business, we have to think about scalability on the front end if we really want to grow, because obviously, and AI allows us um, a fast track to that. But then when I like what I'm doing with it is I'm actually combining it with simple automation stuff that literally makes it a no-brainer process. So like, one of the biggest things with especially heart-centered and spiritually oriented is like the technology hurdle. Like that rock that's like in the middle of the road that we have to like crawl across, and like with this AI tool and then combining it with the right things, it becomes simple. It doesn't have to be hard. It can be simple. It can be repeatable. It can be something that you automate, that like then you're allowing yourself to spend more time on impacting and serving and doing the pieces that you love, that you're uniquely called to do. So I love that part about it the most.
I love this too. So, ladies, I think it was like incredible meeting. Thank you, Michelle, for being here with us.
Love
I
it.
will give the links to your challenge in the comments. Uh, and ladies, stay tuned for more. If you are looking for more simplicity, more fun, and more ease in your business. Thanks a lot, and stay tuned for more. Bye
Bye
now.
now.